I told him this morning what we've talked about many times and what I've said here before. The president is on the ballot in 2026. President Trump is on the ballot next fall. Because if we lose the majority, if the Republicans, the common sense people here who are doing the job for the American people, if we lose the majority in the House and this radical element of the Democrat Party were able to take over, we've already seen that movie. They will try to end the Trump administration. He won't have 4 years, he'll have only 2, because they will move to impeach him probably on the first day of the new Congress in January 2027, and they will try to systematically unwind all the important reforms that we've done for the American people, to lower costs, to have a better quality of living, on health care, to increase access and quality of care. We are the party that is doing that, and the president needs 4 years to complete his agenda, not just 2. So he is in a very real sense on the ballot. He's fiercely committed to us winning. He is going to help. He's offered to do rallies and the teletown halls and all the things. He's sent out a huge round of endorsements of incumbents, Republican incumbents, just over the last few days. He is very much engaged, very dialed in, and he understands the stakes. President Trump is on the ballot in 2026. Look what happened in New York City last night. For the first time in American history, an avowed, openly proclaimed socialist has been elected as the mayor of America's largest city. Zoran Mandami is without a doubt the biggest win for socialism in the history of the country, and it is the biggest loss for the American people. He is truly a committed Marxist. And the results of that race tell you everything you need to know about where the Democrats and their party are headed. From the backbench to their leadership, Democrats have fallen in line behind the socialist candidates. Hakeem Jeffries, as you know, is the highest-ranking Democrat in the House. He gave his full blessing to Mandami and his socialist agenda. Chuck Schumer, the highest-ranking Democrat in the Senate and the highest-ranking Jewish leader in America, flirted with endorsing Mandami all the way to the bitter end. Never mind the fact that Zoran has embraced anti-Semitic rhetoric and promised to arrest the Prime Minister of Israel if he visits New York City again. And then there's President Obama, who called Mandami over the weekend to extend his praise and act as a sounding board for the young socialist. You can't make this stuff up. The man who made health care unaffordable with his own socialist scheme is advising the man whose false promises will surely make life unlivable for millions of New Yorkers who cannot afford to flee the city. As we said from this podium every morning, we talk about Mandami for 2 reasons. It's a bellwether, because House Democrats, many of whom represent districts with much less blue than New York City, have embraced him with open arms. And because his brand of Marxism is truly a bellwether for the Democrats nationwide. We pointed out that other major metropolitan areas in the country are facing the same threat with candidates similar to Mandani. And we're going to continue to call out their effort to mainstream and normalize socialism and Marxism in America. Working families watching this play out have a right to know that socialism and communism are not just confined in New York City. They are quickly coming to a town near you unless you stand up and let your voice of common sense be heard. While Democrats hitch their wagon to the socialist agenda, Republicans are going to continue to act in good faith on behalf of hardworking Americans. And we will remind a new generation of Americans about the painful and inescapable realities of history. We'll have much more to say about this in the days ahead. There were no surprises last night. I'll just summarize on the election, and then I'll yield to some of our sophomore stars here. There's no surprises. What happened last night was blue states and blue cities voted blue. We all saw that coming. And no one should read too much into last night's election results. Off-year elections are not indicative of what's to come. That's what history teaches us. By the way, it's worthy of note that Zoran Mandami himself only received a little over 1 million votes, 1,036,000 votes. There are 8.3 million residents in New York City. 8.5 million actually is the number, I think. So about 12% of the city voted to turn their city over to the communists. We'll see how that works out. The lesson is that common sense Americans have to stay informed, you have to stay engaged, and you have to vote and let your voice be heard. But back to the urgent issue of this moment, Unlike our Democrat friends, Republicans know there's no prize for the milestone we've hit today. No one wins in a government shutdown. We pray that Democrats wake up to that truth very soon. We are very hopeful that they will come to their senses and help us to reopen the government. Remember, it's about math. We have to have 60 votes in the Senate, and we only have 53 Republicans. The entire country is waiting and calling on Democrats to put their political fight aside and open the government. Until they do that and do the right thing, House Republicans will continue to do what we've done since day one, and that is helping our constituents navigate the chaos and confusion of the Democrat shutdown back in our districts. And that includes the members of our outstanding sophomore class, many of whom represented here today. Some of them are here, and we want to thank them for their leadership and their resolve, and they're working in their districts and in D.C. and being all over the place. One of those leaders is Congressman Russell Fry, our sophomore class representative. He was the president of the freshman class, and so he still gets that distinction. He serves on our elected leadership committee. And I will tell you that Russell has been a strong voice for common sense, for conservative values, and we are truly grateful to have him with us today. Well, he and I talked about it early this morning. We woke up very early, and we talked about the outcome, and I reminded him that, as we know from history, those of us who watch these things very closely and always do, that an off-year election is not indicative of what happens next. I mean, look at Virginia, for example. Glenn Youngkin won his race for governor, and then the Democrats, the opposing party, did very well in the upcoming midterm election. These off-year elections are about different things, different dynamics. In Northern Virginia, there are a lot of federal employees. They're probably pretty upset, and they should blame the Democrats for that because, as we noted today, 15 different times Republicans in Congress, Senate and House, voted to open the government, and the Democrats, like our colleague who just tried to interrupt us here, voted to close it down. So it's very clear who's responsible for this, and I think that when we go into next year in the midterms, we're very bullish about the outcome. We have an extraordinary record to run on. You mentioned, Leader Scalise mentioned sort of what we call the split screen here, and I'll remind you all again, under President Trump and Republicans, we have had an extraordinary run. The first 9 months of this, 9 months, the 10th month has been shut down because of the Democrats. The first 9 months of this Congress and this administration, arguably the most productive of all time. We cut taxes, cut regulations, cut waste, fraud, and abuse in government. We solved the border crisis, which was the #1 issue on the ballot last fall. We're solving the crime crisis around the country. We got American energy dominance revved and going again. We have new trade agreements that are more favorable to Americans, which will ultimately bring down costs. We have put real reforms into the Medicaid program to strengthen it, because we've got people who are ineligible recipients, like illegal aliens and young able-bodied men without dependents, off the program so that the disabled, the elderly, and young pregnant women can have the resources they need. The president is literally solving wars around the globe. I think we're up to 9. All of that is on one side of the screen. What are the Democrats on the other side of the screen? A government shutdown. What did they accomplish in 9 months? Interruptions. They've assaulted ICE officers. They have spurred on political violence. And they closed down the government, which is their most basic duty and responsibility. I think the American people are smart. I think they will understand this. And I think the midterm is going to be a great one for us. We had a demographic shift in 2024. We have a very favorable election map on the Republican side, and it will be even more favorable once all the redistricting stuff is settled out. We have Democrats who are flailing. They have no leader. Their national leader now, as we've noted, is Mondami. He's a communist. Good luck with that. I don't think the loss last night was any reflection about Republicans at all. I think people are frustrated and angry, as we are. I am. The president is. And we express that different ways. But look, we look forward. We're looking forward to a great election running on our record. And we're going to get all of our incumbents reelected, and we're going to add to the number here. So that's the answer. Yes. No, look, the question is, President Trump wasn't on the ballot. He's right about that. He and I spoke about that again. But I told him this morning what we've talked about many times and what I've said here before. The president is on the ballot in 2026. President Trump is on the ballot next fall. Because if we lose the majority, if the Republicans, the common sense people here who are doing the job for the American people, if we lose the majority in the House and this radical element of the Democrat Party were able to take over, we've already seen that movie. They will try to end the Trump administration. He won't have 4 years, he'll have only 2, because they will move to impeach him probably on the first day of the new Congress in January 2027, and they will try to systematically unwind all the important reforms that we've done for the American people, to lower costs, to have a better quality of living, on health care, to increase access and quality of care. We are the party that is doing that, and the president needs 4 years to complete his agenda, not just 2. So he is in a very real sense on the ballot. He's fiercely committed to us winning. He is going to help. He's offered to do rallies and the town halls and all the things. He's sent out a huge round of endorsements of incumbents, Republican incumbents, just over the last few days. He is very much engaged, very dialed in, and he understands the stakes. President Trump is on the ballot in 2026, and we're looking forward to that contest.